All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. And then if there's anyone else coming in late, they can jump on in. Okay, so welcome to our first webinar of 2021. If this is your first webinar with us, thank you for joining. We started these webinars last year, actually around this time. We used to do in-person lunch and learns, but for obvious reasons, we switched over to webinar form. And so what we decided to do this year is we took some of our most popular sessions, and we're gonna do them over again, update them, and then kind of spread them out. We're gonna do one every few months instead of one a month. But the first one that was the most popular last year was around social media. So we decided to do this one again. So again, thank you for joining. My name is Justin Marshall. I'm the Director of Social Media Marketing here at webFEAT Complete. Let's go through. So first, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about us. If you're not familiar with webFEAT Complete, we were founded in 1999. So that makes us one of the oldest and one of the largest digital agencies in Cincinnati. We have over 20 years of digital design and SEO experience. And one of the biggest differentiating factors about us is that we offer a full suite of digital marketing services. So anything from website design, SEO, social media, obviously, video production, website hosting. If it's online, then we can handle it. So, if you have any digital marketing needs, we can handle those for you. Okay, just wanted to very quickly touch base on the agenda for today. So first and foremost, we're going to cover why social media is so crucial for your digital success. And then we're going to move on to how to create a social media audit. So before you even get into posting things on social media, what you should do beforehand. And then we are going to get into some guidelines and best practices for the ideal social media post. We're going to go over some current social media trends that you should be paying attention to. Then we're going to talk about how social media, SEO, content creation all kind of complement each other, and they kind of form this, this digital strategy that kind of covers all bases. And then finally, at the end of it, I'm going to just briefly touch on some tools that can help you manage all of your social channels, some ones that we use here, and some ones that other people find useful. So hopefully some of these will help you on your social media strategies. Okay, first and foremost, this is a question that anytime a potential client comes to us, it's something that I ask them first question, and that is, why isn't your business actively using social media? There's an answer that I get 95% of the time that I'm gonna share with you at the end of this, but this is a question to keep in mind as we go through this. For you personally, for you or your business, why aren't you actively using social media? What are your restrictions? What's holding you back? So again, as we go through this, hopefully I can help you answer some of those questions and help ease the burden of some of those factors. Okay, so why is social media important for business? There's obviously limitless reasons to why it's important for your business. Some of the big ones here are it will increase your overall brand awareness. It can help you attract new customers. It's really cost efficient. It's free in most cases. And then it helps you support, if you're doing SEO, it helps support your SEO efforts. It helps support sales efforts. And then, all of these social platforms have their own analytics, and it can help you gather insights on your customers or the types of users that are interacting with you that can help other areas of your business. And then lastly, it just helps keep your business top of mind. If you're active on social media, your business or your brand is out there, and it just helps you keep that top of mind with potential customers. Okay, so the rest of this presentation is kind of how I do things anytime I'm onboarding a new client or someone has questions about the process. This is kind of the way that I handle that process at a very in a very top level way. So the first thing that I always do and or recommend doing for someone is to create a social media strategy with an audit of their social media efforts. So what's included in this audit? Really, you have to ask yourself some questions initially. First, you have to decide what your social media goals are. Every company has different goals when it comes to social media, so you have to decide what yours are. You have to look at where your target audience is spending the most time. You have to research what your competition is using. That's one of the most important ones. You have to see what they're using and how you can, also take advantage of those channels. You have to decide what kind of content you're going to want to be posting. And maybe most importantly, you have to decide how many channels you can actually manage at one time. We'll talk a little bit more about that as time goes on. But the first thing is, what are your goals? Say, for example, you really just want to increase your brand awareness. In that case, using these larger, well-established social platforms like Facebook and Instagram, where they have the biggest user base, that may be your best option. Maybe you are very, very sales lead oriented. That's how you do business, by getting leads. LinkedIn may be a good option for you. And then, maybe you're just trying to provide customer support. In that case, Twitter is really the best option for you. And then, a combination of all of these, ideally you'd want to be active on all of them, but that's something you have to determine, depending on what your goal is. From there, you have to research and see where your target audience is spending the most time. These are just some generalized demographics. It would really be ideal to kind of fully flesh out the different audiences on different platforms. But for example, Facebook is a little bit skewed to older age groups, and a little bit more skewed towards women. Instagram is a little bit younger, in the millennial generation. Twitter is a little bit older, sometimes with higher income households. Pinterest is very obviously skewed towards women. And then LinkedIn is kind of your educated professionals. Again, these are just some very general demographics. It would do you well to really look into your current customer base and determine where they are spending the most time. And then the third part of this audit is, what's your competition using? So this is an example here on Facebook where you can actually keep tabs on some of your competitors. You can choose some people that are in similar industry as you, and then you want to go out and see what channels, what social channels they're actually using. Sometimes there may be a case where they're using a channel you would have never thought would have been relevant, but they're seeing a lot of engagement, a lot of traction, in which case, you might want to try and take advantage of that as well. So, you should really write your prime competitors, visit their sites, see what social channels they're actively engaged in, and then just make a note of that. And then you can use that in your own social strategy. The fourth part of this audit is what kind of content you're going to want to post. So if really all you want to post is some company updates, some company news, or some white papers you've developed, LinkedIn and SlideShare are really great places for this type of content. Or maybe you have a large library of videos, or you want to focus on creating some videos. YouTube, maybe a lot of people don't know, is the world's second largest search engine after Google. So, you obviously want to take advantage of that. And Instagram is another one for video. Their increased focus on long form video is very prevalent. And they're also still one of the fastest growing social networks. Or maybe you just kind of want to do it all. Facebook is the tried and true social platform, has the most users, has the biggest variation of content. It's that multi-purpose social channel. These are just a few examples. Again, part of the audit is really determining that kind of content and what you're going to be posting, and determining where that content fits best. And then again, finally, and maybe most important, is how many channels can you handle? There's a statistic here, 91% of brands utilize more than 2 channels. However, if all you can really handle and really put your full power and focus in is one social media channel, then that's better than kind of half doing multiple channels. So part of your audit is really noting which channels are performing best, and then focusing on those channels as much as you can. And then at the end, like I said, I'm going to show you some tools that can help you manage multiple accounts if you're having issues doing that. All right, so after you've completed your audit, it's really time to get into the post and the posting strategy. So these are some general best practices and guidelines on how to create your posts. It's something that you can kind of keep in the back of your mind for every post that you are creating. But these are 10 things that I really keep in mind anytime I post something at all on social media. And the first one is be concise and to the point. I note here less is usually more when writing your post captions, and that's for a couple of reasons. The first is that people just don't have time to read. They're scrolling through their phone or on their computer, and they're not going to read, a book that you've written. So for example, over here on the left, this is an example of a really good post. It's one sentence, it gets their point across. And then over here, you see there's a lot of words here. And not only is a user not going to read this, but if you see here, a user is going to have to actually physically click see more to see the rest of that post. And the odds are more likely than not, they're not going to want to do that. So just, be concise and to the point. Try and get your message across as briefly as you can. The second guideline or best practice here is to always have some sort of visual, whether that be a photo or a video or a GIF or a meme. You always want to have a visual, and that's for two reasons. Again, a visual helps tell your story. You hear, picture says 1,000 words, or whatever the saying is, and it really does. So, those visuals really give you an opportunity to catch the attention of a user, and then you can, detail more in depth through your post captions. But the second part of this is that, these social media channels all have their own algorithms, and part of what helps them decide to show your post to someone is if you have a visual included in your post. If you post something without a visual, the likelihood of it getting shown to people is substantially less. If you don't know what an algorithm is, I kind of put the definition down here. Essentially, it's the computer learning what posts to show to what people. It's deciding anytime you see a post on a social network, it's the algorithm thinking that that's a post that's relevant to you. So that's a trend here in these guidelines and best practices is that there's two people that we want to satisfy, or two things that we want to satisfy, and the first one is the user, and the second one is the algorithm. So that's kind of where these guidelines and best practices are stemming from. Number 3 is the less text in an image, the better. Going back to those algorithms, they can't read images. They can a little bit, but we haven't gotten to the point where computers can fully read text inside of an image. Eventually, they're going to get there, but as it is, the algorithms don't like images with a lot of text in them because people can put things that may be inflammatory or whatever the case may be. They're going to penalize images and posts that have text inside of them. And then again, users don't like images with lots of text either. So again, we're trying to satisfy the two people, the user and the algorithm. And this is kind of what that one is covering. This one's just a general post and image size. So every social channel, as annoying as it is, has an optimal image or video size. So this is just a chart that I use. You can find different ones online doing a Google search, but anytime you go to post something on social media, just check here and make sure you're posting the correct size, because sometimes images can get cut off, and sometimes they look different on mobile than they do on desktop. So it's always nice to just kind of make sure you're following the correct image size on whatever social network you're sharing something to. Number 5 is to always have a call to action or a CTA. So the reason you want to do this is that you always want to have an instruction or an action that you want a user to take on your post. Whether you're saying, like this post or share this post. In this case, they say DM us or direct message us for pricing. And the reason this is a good strategy is because, again, going back to this algorithm, the more engagement that an algorithm sees on your post, the more likely it is they're going to share that post to more people. Because if they're seeing people that are engaging with this post and commenting, liking, sharing, that's telling them that this is a really good, relevant post, and they're going to show that to more people. So anything you can do to get more engagement on a post is best to make sure that it's getting shown to as many people as possible. And one way to do that is through a call to action. specifically telling a user some sort of action that you would like them to take. So number 6 is to make sure you're using hashtags, and I put appropriately here because you can get out of control with hashtags very quickly, and it can turn into spam. But you really want to use hashtags. In this example, this is an Instagram post because they're really great for discoverability. So anytime a user clicks on one of these hashtags, say they're interested in modern homes, they click on that hashtag. That just gives you another opportunity to show up in a user's feed. So these are really important, especially on Instagram and Twitter, to a lesser extent on Facebook and LinkedIn and some other channels. But it's really important for discoverability to have some hashtags included in your post. So you're given the greatest opportunity to show up for the most people. So this one, number 7, is more of a, it's not really a post by post guideline, but it's kind of a general social media strategy that I personally follow and I found performs the best, and that's the rule of thirds. So the rule of thirds is essentially you want to make sure you're posting 1/3 of your content is salesy content, so that includes call to actions, information on your services, company promotions, things like that. The second third is informative content, so any blogs you've written, content from your website that can specifically help a user or is just informational in nature. And then the last third is kind of some miscellaneous items just to show users that your company has a personality. It could be inspirational quotes, fun memes, motivational posts, what have you. This really helps to diversify your content, so you're not just kind of shoving sales content down people's throats all day, every day. You kind of want to mix it up and give something to your followers that they find relevant and useful, whatever post that you're making. Just something, an easy way to keep in mind and kind of segment, what you're going to post on a day-to-day basis. Number 8 is to utilize stories. So no matter the social channel you're on these days, they have some version of a story. It may be called something different. Twitter is, they call them fleets, Instagram's stories. They all have a version of this, and it's really important because these stories, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more later on, but these stories get the most engagement across social media. They're ephemeral in nature. They last for a short amount of time. They're in the moment, and really they're just the biggest trend, and people use them more than any other aspect of social media. So it's just something, if you don't know a lot about stories, do some research on them, see how your competitors are using them and how you can utilize them. But you just always want to have the stories in the back of your mind. And then number 9 is make sure you're utilizing video, and more specifically live video. So these social channels are really rewarding pages and posts that are using video, and doubly so if it's a live video. They're sending notifications to followers that you're starting a live video. Algorithmically, they're boosting your post higher up in the feed if it's a video or if it's a live video. So this is just another example of a way you can kind of satisfy the algorithm, but also because it's a video, it's more engaging and the user will enjoy it more as well. And then lastly, this is something to do after a post is put out there. You don't just want to post something and then forget about it. You want to make sure you're interacting with the people that are engaging with your posts. Again, this is good for your brand reputation, but it's also good for the algorithm because because it sees people are commenting on it, and again, the more engagement on the post, the more likely it's going to get shown to more people based on the algorithm. So you just want to make sure you're monitoring your posts. Maybe someone has a question that you can answer. So in that case, you're satisfying two people, the user and the algorithm at the same time. So yeah, again, just make sure you're interacting with everyone that's interacting with you. All right, now we're going to get into some trends on social media that you're going to want to pay attention to, and make sure that you're kind of utilizing across all social channels. The first one here is Facebook and LinkedIn groups. This has been a trend for a while. I think it's just going to continue to grow, even more as time goes on. And you may have noticed it already. But groups essentially are a place for people to gather around a specific topic or subject matter. And you can kind of probably already realize why this is so important, because it kind of weeds through all the noise of social media. Maybe there's things that you don't necessarily care about. A group allows you to visit a specific place and talk about a specific topic. For example, we have our own group, and it's based around digital marketing in the Cincinnati area. That's very specific. We're open to, digital marketing professionals or business owners who just want to learn more about digital marketing, or just, observers who are just interested in digital marketing in general. Whatever the case, these groups are definitely a big trend, and they're going to continue to be a big trend. And again, I note over here, I'm going to continue going back to that algorithm. Facebook loves groups, and they're going to prioritize these groups in your newsfeed. So just another reason to think about groups in your social media strategies. And back to stories, I said I would touch on it a little bit more here. Stories are again the most engaging feature on any social media channel. It's these quick, fun, to the point posts that kind of creates this mindset that a user needs to see it now, which is why they're so enticing, because they know that they're going to disappear. There's really no guidelines for what you can post or how you can post. It's really wide open. But again, this is something that you really want to, during your audit process, kind of see how people are using them and how your competition is using them in ways that are beneficial to you. So again, stories, they're everywhere. If it's a feature that people are using, it's probably something that you want to be using as well. And then again, back to video and live video. I kind of already discussed it, but just kind of hammer the point home again. Live video can help provide your followers with a perspective that they've maybe never seen before. So a live video can be anything from behind the scenes of your company, or maybe you have an event that maybe someone can't attend, and you can go live and they can virtually be there, or a how-to. A lot of restaurants during the pandemic are doing these how-to live videos where they just do a recipe from their restaurant live for people to see. That's just one example, but there's really limitless possibilities in how to utilize live videos. And then again, they get prioritized in the newsfeed. So if you're doing a live video, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, they're going to love you for it, and they're going to promote it more than just a typical post. And then, so social commerce is another one that you may have seen popping up recently. So social commerce is literally selling products directly from social media. This is something, maybe you don't have an e-commerce website or don't have the money or resources to keep up with an e-commerce website. Social commerce is a great way to circumvent that, because these the e-commerce functionality is actually being handled by the big tech companies and their developers. So you don't have to spend money or time or resources in creating your own e-commerce website, because in this case, Facebook gives you all the tools you need to sell directly on social media. If you have an e-commerce website, you can sync that up to these platforms as well, but it's not necessary. Another advantage of social commerce is the ability to easily promote your products across social media. And again, a user can buy directly from you without ever having to leave the app or navigate to another website. So this has really been growing as time has gone on, and it's really something that's been beneficial to a lot of people. A lot of our clients are doing very well integrating their shops into these social platforms. So social commerce, definitely keep that on your radar moving forward if you have something to sell online. And then I just wanted to show or throw this in here, social media advertising. I mean, this has been around since the advent of social media. I mean, this is how they make their money, but I wanted to put it in here because it is a really affordable and highly targeted way to get your company out there. It has great ROI. You can advertise on social media for as little as $5 a day and see results in real time. So it's just something I wanted to note here as a trend that's going to continue for as long as social media is around. Whether you like ads or not, they're here to stay. Cool. So one thing I did want to discuss briefly is how social media, SEO, content creation all really complement each other and work together to help maximize one another. So to start, without question, social media is the best way to promote your website content. If you're doing SEO, part of any good SEO strategy is creating great content on your website. That provides value for your user as well as for search engines. And again, without question, social media is the best way to promote all of this content so people can discover it. And that's because in a typical way, if you say, for example, write this really great blog, and it's really useful. It's got great SEO on it, and you're just really happy with it. The only way someone's going to find it is through either they go to your website and find it that way, or they search for it on Google. But with social media, you can serve this content directly to all of your followers. So they don't have to search for it, it's coming to them, which is great because this helps with some other SEO ranking factors such as page views, such as bounce rates and on-site time. So if someone finds this blog or piece of content that you've created on your website. They click through to read it. They read the whole thing, and then they start navigating to other pieces of content on your website. And they stay around. They read some more blogs. They watch some more videos or view some content on your website. This is helping your bounce rates and your on-site time. So, these are just some ranking factors that Google keeps in mind, is how long people are staying on your website, and are people, exiting out as soon as they get to your site. That's because these two factors tell Google that your website is useful to people, and the people that visit it are finding great value in it. So that's just a way that social media can kind of help some of your SEO ranking factors. And then, also it's really important to be active on social media, because Google treats your social profiles just like any other page on the internet. It scans them, it indexes them, and they can show up in search results. For example, Twitter, individual tweets can show up in search results. And then YouTube, you've more than likely seen it. You do a search for something and YouTube videos show up right there in the search results. So, it's just really important to be active. So, if a user wants to find you, you're making it as easy as possible to find you. All right, so finally, after all of that, maybe you've determined that it's important for you to be active everywhere, on all social channels, as much as possible. These are some tools that can help you do that. So the first one here, Canva. So this is a free tool. There's a paid option, but you can get by just using the free version. Essentially, the use of Canva is for inspiration. You can go here and you can find pre-made templates, where all you have to do is swap out the text, swap out the image, change some colors, put your logo on it, and you're good to go with the social post. You can see here in the image, there's a ton of different template designs. If you want to design an email header, an Instagram post, a Pinterest post, whatever the case may be, Canva's the best place for you to kind of come up with these designs. We use it here for tons of different things, and it's just really a great tool. It's easy for beginners, and it's great for idea generation. And then we discussed hashtags briefly, but this is something that can help you with those hashtags. This is just an iOS app. There's different ones for Android and for desktop browsers, but this one's called Hashtag Expert. So essentially what this allows you to do is type in a base hashtag. So for example, I typed in web design over here. You click generate, and it's going to spit out a bunch of other relevant hashtags around web design. So, for example, digital marketing, website development, advertising, content marketing, those all came up. And then from there, you can just copy them all at once and paste them into your post. This makes it easy if you're having trouble coming up with hashtags that are relevant, to whatever your industry is or a specific post. Linktree, this is a good one for if you have a lot of relevant links that you can't fit into one post. It's really versatile. So we use it for Instagram. So what it does is it creates a landing page. It creates a link, and then from there it creates a landing page. So for example, on ours, we put all of our social channels on this page, and then whatever a user is looking to click through on, they can go from there. So it's really good. Again, if you have a lot of links that you want to show a user, you can put it in your email signature, social profiles. Again, just a really versatile, free tool that you can utilize. And then this is just an example of one social management tool. This is the one that we use a lot, and it's called Social Pilot. So again, if you go back and you decide that you want to be active on all social networks, this is a tool that can help you. It allows you to connect all of your social profiles into one dashboard. And then from there, you can create a post and you can schedule it out in advance. In this calendar view, you can see what's coming up. You can customize by channel. So maybe you only want to post a specific thing on one social network, you can do that. And you want to post something else on others, you can do that. So yeah, again, Social Pilot, it makes it really easy to see the content that you have scheduled out and on what channels. It also gives you some good analytics, so you can kind of see what posts are being or what posts are successful on what channels through this tool. And these are some other ones that may come up. So some of them are more advanced, in which case more expensive. Some of them have fewer features, but they're free. So again, you can just do a Google search, and there's tons of them out there, and you can do free trials on all of them and see which one fits your needs best. And then, so this is good for, again, some content creation. A lot of people, when they're looking for an image, just do a Google search and then pull that image from Google Images. That's not a good idea because most of these images have copyright licenses on them, and you're actually not allowed to use them. So here's these are 4 websites that have free to use licenses. So you're allowed to use any image on any of these sites for any need. So for your website, for social media post, whatever the case is, you're legally allowed to use these. If you use that Google image, you may not run into any issues, but you may get contacted, in which case you're gonna have to pay a fine, and a pretty large one for using someone's image without their consent. So just to be safe, use one of these free image sites, and you'll be good to go. Cool. So just a quick recap. We covered why social media is crucial for digital success, how to create that first initial social media audit, how to get into the nitty-gritty and crafting that ideal social media post, some current trends that you're going to want to pay attention to, how social media, SEO, content all play into each other and complement one another, and then finally, some tools to help you manage it all. Hopefully, kind of help you keep your sanity with having to deal with all these social media channels. So I want to go back to, what all those items have in common. And my initial question was, why isn't your business actively using social media? And 95% of the time, the answer that I get is they just don't have time for it. And it makes sense. Most businesses, they spend time in the business as opposed to on the business, and they just don't have time to do it all. And social media kind of gets the shaft in that regard, which is really a really important part of your digital presence online. So really the point here is, we can help you save that time. At webFEAT, our job whenever you come on as a social client is, we help develop a great representation of your business. We help build your following, and we connect you with your target audience. So we take everything off your plate. We do the research, we stay on top of trends and social updates. We provide analytics and reports on what's working and what isn't. We can work with you closely or autonomously. It doesn't matter whatever your needs are. It's our job to just take the wheel and get things going. And then if you're an SEO client of ours, we actually work hand in hand with our SEO analysts, to help give you this robust digital online presence that's going to help grow your business. And that's all I got. Thank you. Thank you for joining and watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat here, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. You will also be getting this recording emailed to you once it's over. So if there's anything that that you may have missed that you wanted to see again, keep an eye out for that in your inbox. But again, thank you all for joining. I'll stay on for a little bit to answer any questions if you guys have any. Oh, thanks, Pam. I'm glad it was helpful. Debuted a video last week and the results have been disappointing. Any tips on YouTube? One thing, and I don't know if this has been done yet or not, but there are some SEO factors involved with YouTube videos as well. So you want to really make sure you type in a very detailed description of the video. You want to make sure your video title is extremely targeted. You want to make sure the tags on the back end of the video are relevant, because YouTube's just like Google. They deal with keywords and users that are typing a specific query into their search bar. Those are just some things. One thing, if it has if there's any speaking in the video, make sure that the captions on it are set up, even if it's just auto captioned. It's another way that YouTube can kind of see what your video is actually about by listening and reading the captions that are on the video. So yeah, that's a couple ways. And then you can just share that video on other social networks and have it come back to YouTube itself. But yeah, if you want to send me the link to that video, I can take a look at it and maybe give you some more specific tips on that specific video itself. If there's no speaking, then there's no reason to add closed captioning. It just makes sure that your description. Some people actually like to, so whatever the text is in the video, some people actually type out that in the description as like a transcript of sorts. That's one way you could take advantage of the text in the video itself.